I am the acting chairman right now, and I have the pleasure of calling on myself. You know, I'm going to say, for the record, what needs to be said here, and that is that if we want to send the right signal to Russia, all of the work we're doing, that you and your command are doing, which is so important, is an integral piece of that. All of the work we do with our allies in Europe is an integral piece of that. But a big piece of it is having a commander-in-chief that will say the right things to Russia. And we do not have a commander-in-chief right now who is willing to say out loud what everyone knows about Putin and what he's doing in Europe and what he tried to do in the United States. And until we have a commander-in-chief that is willing to speak out against this thug and his behavior, I don't know that all the great work that you and your command can do is ever going to move the needle enough. And I've said it, and I feel better. You don't have to say a word, not your place to say a word. I understand the role of the commander-in-chief in your life, but I wanted to say it and put it on the record. I was in Estonia. I'd like to talk a little bit about what's going on in other places in non-traditional warfare. I was in Estonia last summer, and I was shocked how many Estonians told me, you know, we went to a coffee shop and we were talking to those who spoke English, and they were saying how they really wanted to be part of NATO, but they were worried about the NATO soldiers being able to rape the citizens of Estonia and not be held illegally accountable. And I, of course, went, what? And as it turns out, this is the other thing Russia is doing. That Russia is pushing propaganda through Estonia that NATO is somehow going to damage their sovereignty in terms of the enforcement of rule of law. Could you speak to that, General, that method that they use to try to undermine the support of NATO in the countries that they have designs on?
You stated it clearly. They have, in fact, we are now in NATO. The first forces are going in to the four nations, Estonia being one of them. And we've already had a couple of incidents of just complete untruth. Incident never occurred within days of the troops arriving. We've prepared for this. We expected it. We were able to respond to those truthfully and quickly and debunk the false story, but it's something that I expect will continue. And as you said, it obviously has, their disinformation obviously has some influence. If there is a consistent message from Russia in the East, it is to undercut the credibility of the United States and NATO at large, consistently.
And do we have a robust enough response to this kind of disinformation campaign? Are we focusing enough on this part of the warfare?
I think we're focused on it. I don't think we have a robust enough response at this point. I think we have to both as the U.S. and also as allies come together and take a more aggressive confrontation of Russia, particularly in this gray area.
Yeah, I would certainly hope that would be on NATO's agenda as to strategies moving forward to combat this kind of insidious disinformation that really does strengthen the efforts of Russia to use the military might to intimidate and eventually move into countries that have no desire to be occupied. I also